So here's the test object that I'm inspecting, and that is 2 inches thick. Okay. Test object is 2 inches thick. The first scenario that I was explaining is the transducer is over here, and the A scan over here shows up a signal on the left, which is your initial pulse or dead zone or main bang. And then you have another signal over here, which let's say is 80%. Okay. And that signal is called, let's say it's appearing at 2 inches, right? And because this object is 2 inch thick and the signal shows up at 2 inches, that tells me that this signal is my BWE. Okay, that means the signal is my back wall echo. Okay, first back surface reflection, back wall signal, back wall echo. All of those are correct. Not front surface. Okay. Someone mentioned front surface signal. Front surface signal is, this is the front surface on the top. The top part of the object is front surface. The bottom part of the object is back surface. So your front surface is your initial pulse when it's contact. You don't have a separate front surface when you're on contact. If the transducer, let's say the transducer is up here, right? And there's water in between, like an immersion testing. Now your initial pulse is at the transducer. Your front surface is going to appear because your initial pulse and the front surface are separated. So now you'll have two different reflections. Initial pulse, front surface, then back surface. When the transducer is in contact with the object, your initial pulse itself is on the front surface. So there is no separate front surface signal. This one is back surface or back wall echo. Okay. Now the question is, I moved this transducer, and as I was scanning it, I reached a place where I completely lost the back wall. So it's not that 80% went down to 40% or 20%. It just completely vanished. Can you tell me what could be the options? What could be the reasons I lost the signals? There's more than one reason. So can you tell me in the chat, one or two or three, whatever the reasons are, that I lost this back wall echo? So the question is, when I was scanning the surface with this transducer over here on this region, I was getting an 80% back wall signal. When I moved the transducer over here, there's a point when the back wall suddenly disappeared. So I'm wondering what happened. One of the reasons is that you probably lost couplant. Okay, you probably lost couplant. And because you lost couplant, you lost contact with the surface. And so now there's an air gap between the transducer and the object. So the sound is not being transmitted. Okay. So first thing you'll check is, do I have enough couplant? If not, add more couplant and see if you can get the reflection back. If you still don't get a reflection back, what is the second line of thinking? Why did I lose the signal? Because there was a discontinuity, right, in the way of the sound. And not just any discontinuity. It was a discontinuity that is not parallel to the surface. Okay. So because the discontinuity is not parallel, meaning let's say it is at an angle like this, sound that is supposed to travel all the way to the back is going to be diverted in a different direction. So nothing's coming back. That's another reason. Right? So what you can do is, once you lose the signal, make sure that there is enough couplant. And if there is not enough couplant, then another reason is there could be a defect or discontinuity that is inclined at an angle to the surface, which causes the sound to bounce in a completely different direction. Okay. Third reason could be equipment issue as well. Yeah, that's also possible that your cable has stopped working. So in that case, you just bring the transducer back to the place where you used to get signal before. And now if you still don't get the signal, that means your cable has gone bad or there's a loose connection. You need to tighten it, right? So if you get the signal again and you're still not getting the signal over here even after adding couplant, then there is a possibility that there is a defect that is at an angle that is diverting your sound. Now, someone mentioned that it is also possible that you came on a thicker section, which means on the screen, let's say you set the range to 1.8 inches. That's a really good answer, actually. But so if you set the range on the screen to 1.8 inches, that means I'm only looking at 1.8 inches. Okay. So that means my 2-inch signal is actually showing up, but it's outside the screen and I cannot see it. That could be a really good reason why you cannot see signal. But it won't be the reason in this case because we initially saw the signal, right? Over here, we saw the signal. That means we first made sure that we have enough range. If at the first point itself, you're not able to see the back wall, then you got a question. If you're not able to see the back wall in the first placement of the transducer, is it the couplant? Is it the cable of the transducer? Or is it that there's a discontinuity in between? Or is it that the range is not sufficient? So all of these could be a possibility, right? Now, another possibility is a discontinuity that is on the back surface itself. So sometimes there's corrosion, okay? So for example, this section could be corroded really bad, like that. And so when you move the transducer over there, you will temporarily lose the sound for the same reason that the sound is going to hit on this surface and is going to be diverted in all different directions. Now, when you move the transducer over here, you are going to get some of the sound back. Even if it bounces in all different directions, you have this faint sound coming back. Some of the sound is coming back. So you might see a 20% signal instead of an 80%. So you know that the back wall is there, but also the back wall will shift to the left, right? Why would the back wall shift to the left? Because there is less material to travel for the sound. The original material was 2 inches. The corrosion ate some material from the back. So now let's say it has 1.8 inches left. So the sound will return earlier in time. So the 20% signal is going to be to the left of your original back wall. So that tells you that there is some corrosion at the back.